At 5:17 local time, the sea lies almost perfectly still. Wind is light and visibility stretches without limit. On the carrier's flight deck, yellow shirt crews guide an FA-18 into place. A haze of steam hangs over Catapult 2. Deep below, the engineering spaces maintain a steady rhythm. Nothing feels rushed. Nothing feels loud. Then the atmosphere shifts. Inside the cruiser, guarding the carrier's forward sector, a sonar operator leans closer to the screen. A thin spike slices through the constant wash of ocean sound. Not sea life, not commercial traffic. Cavitation. Fast. Mechanical. Closing. Con, sonar, possible transient, bearing 087. The report moves quickly, but the tone stays controlled. No one raises their voice. The operator switches to narrowband analysis. The pattern becomes clearer. Rotational harmonic. Metallic blade rate. The signature holds steady. It is not drifting debris. It is not a false contact. Con, sonar, reclassify. Possible torpedo in the water. On the carrier's bridge, the captain does not react at once. 4 seconds pass. Confirmation matters more than impulse. Back on the cruiser, the supervisor gives a single nod. Confirmed. Torpedo in the water. Bearing steady. Range 8,000 yards. Speed estimated 4 to 5 knots and increasing. That single update changes everything. Set condition 1. Counter-torpedo doctrine. The words are calm and precise. On the flight deck, crews stop mid-motion, then shift instantly into a new routine. Catapult teams clear the bow. Aircraft brakes lock. Elevator hatches seal. Hangar bay doors begin closing. Below the surface, the strike group pulls tighter together. The portside destroyer sends out its Nixie-towed acoustic decoy. The cable streams smoothly into the wake, trailing a mechanical lure built to pull a homing seeker away from its target. On the starboard side, another destroyer adjusts course to open a potential firing lane. On sonar, the contact grows stronger. 7,000 yards. The track is steady. No weaving, no wandering. It is following the carrier's wake-homing behavior. The carrier alters course 3 degrees to starboard. Not a sharp turn, just a controlled shift. Too much rudder would strengthen the wake signature. Too little would leave the track unchanged. 5,000 yards. Countermeasure 1 active. The decoy begins pulsing. New acoustic signatures flood the water behind the formation. For 2 seconds, the incoming track hesitates. Then it corrects. Contact reacquired, still inbound. The bridge stays quiet except for measured updates. No shouting, no panic, only numbers. 4,000 yards. The cruiser's combat system refines the intercept geometry. The window is shrinking by the second. Recommend hard kill option. Authorization comes without ceremony. Execute. On the port destroyer, a small hatch opens near the waterline. An anti-torpedo interceptor slips cleanly into the sea. Moments later, its motor ignites beneath the surface. On sonar, 2 fast contacts race toward each other. 3,000 yards. Time suddenly feels smaller. On the flight deck, personnel are flat behind blast shields. The carrier holds speed. Engines remain steady. 2,000 yards. The incoming track shifts again, searching for the strongest acoustic source. The interceptor closes from below. 1,000 yards. Then a muffled underwater shock rolls through the formation. Not a surface eruption, but a contained odor beneath the sea. The water bulges for an instant, then smooths out again. Contact breakup confirmed. Fragments scatter across the acoustic display. The torpedo is gone. For a brief moment, no one says anything. Then the sonar operator lifts one side of his headset. Stand by, possible second transient. That lands even heavier than the first. The ocean settles back into its low mechanical hum, but the tension remains. A torpedo does not appear on its own. And if one was launched, another may already be on the way. At 5:23 local time, the first interception is already fading into the past, but the formation does not ease. Inside the cruiser's sonar shack, the operator keeps his eyes fixed on the waterfall display. The sea is no longer background noise. It has become a field of possibilities. Con, sonar, new transient bearing 092. Faint, could be a second weapon. No one assumes it is debris. On the carrier's bridge, the captain replies in the same even tone. Maintain speed, shift 5 degrees port, keep the wake unpredictable. The helm answers smoothly. No hard rudder, no panicked maneuver. Underwater threats punish overreaction. The port destroyer reels in its damaged decoy line and deploys a second acoustic lure. This one broadcasts a different profile. Variable amplitude, shifting blade rate mimicry, a more complex acoustic target. Above the deck, the next order is already moving. Launch helo, immediate ASW configuration. The MH-60R Seahawk is already turning. Rotor wash throws spray across the non-skid deck. The crew chief signals clear. The helicopter lifts in less than 70 seconds. This is not for show. This is active prosecution. At 200 feet over the water, the Seahawk banks toward the suspected bearing. Inside, the crew speaks in clipped, practiced phrases. Sonobuoy Pattern Alpha, deploy on mark. One after another, cylindrical buoys drop into the sea, parachutes snapping open just before splashdown. Within seconds, they are sending acoustic data back to the aircraft and through data link to every ship in the formation. Below the surface, something changes. Con, sonar, second contact confirmed. High-speed screw, bearing steady, range 6,000 yards, closing. Now the tone is unmistakable. Metallic, deliberate, built for exactly one purpose, another torpedo. And once again, the formation tightens. The carrier's escort screen stretches wider, opening space between ships. Positioning becomes critical. Every angle, every distance is calculated. On the starboard destroyer, sonar shifts from passive listening to active search. A sharp pulse cuts through the water. Ping. The return comes back, distorted but readable. Large mass, not a weapon, a platform. Possible submarine, range 12,000 yards from outer screen, depth shallow to moderate. So there it is. The incoming threat was not alone. It came from somewhere. Above the water, the Seahawk reaches its first buoy and settles into a hover. The dipping sonar lowers beneath the aircraft, breaking the surface and extending into the depths. A growing sphere of awareness spreads outward. Inside the helicopter, the sensor operator locks onto it. Strong contact, diesel-electric signature, slow maneuver, bearing matches torpedo origin. The source is confirmed. The submarine is moving, trying to reposition. Back on the destroyer, weapons control calculates quickly. Recommend hard kill intercept on second weapon. Approved. Another interceptor drops into the sea and accelerates silently below the surface. Now, 3 signatures move through the darkness, 2 threats and 1 hunter. The torpedo reacts to a fresh decoy pulse. For a moment, it locks onto the stronger signal. Then it shifts again, correcting its path. Contact adjusting, still inbound. Distance closes fast. 4,000 yards. Inside the Seahawk, both the torpedo and submarine appear on split displays. The submarine briefly increases speed. A burst of battery power, then slows again, trying to stay quiet. Too late. 3,000 yards. The interceptor closes from below and behind. In the sonar shack, no one speaks as the tracks converge. Then a sharper underwater ooder than before. Closer this time. The nearest destroyer feels a faint tremor through its hull. Second torpedo neutralized. No celebration, just confirmation, but the larger threat remains. Active sonar pulses again. Ping. The return is clearer now. The submarine is turning hard, likely searching for a thermal layer to hide within. Submarine altering course, south-southeast, speed increasing. The carrier does not pursue. It doesn't need to. Outer destroyers shift position, cutting off likely escape routes. Above, the Seahawk slides to a new position and drops more sonobuoys, forming a containment box. Below the surface, the submarine grows louder, more cavitation, less control. It knows it has been found. On the carrier's bridge, the tactical display updates in real time. 2 incoming threats, both eliminated. Launch platform identified. The captain gives a single, measured order. Transition to full ASW prosecution. Above the sea, the helicopter banks tighter. Below the surface, the submarine runs. And for the first time since 517, the advantage shifts. By 531, the ocean is no longer quiet. It is layered with sound. Inside the destroyer's combat information center, the focus has changed, from defense to pursuit. The second threat is gone, but the main contact remains. Con, sonar, submarine holding bearing 180, range 11,000 yards from outer screen. Speed fluctuating. The acoustic profile is now unmistakable. Low-frequency diesel tones, intermittent battery surges, an uneven blade rate under pressure. The submarine is maneuvering hard. The strike group adjusts its formation again, widening carefully. No one crowds the grid, no sudden moves. Each ship maintains precise spacing to avoid interfering with the acoustic picture. Above, the Seahawk transitions from hover into a slow lateral drift. Its dipping sonar goes active again. Ping. This time, the return is strong. Contact solid, depth 150 feet, heading south. Shallow, risky. Diesel-electric submarines usually hide within thermal layers, blending into temperature gradients. But this one is pushing forward, staying higher in the water. That suggests urgency. On the destroyer's bridge, the captain scans the surface. Nothing gives the submarine away. This is a battle of physics, not visibility. Recommend sonobuoy barrier expansion. Approved. From the Seahawk's rack, more buoys drop in a staggered pattern, forming a digital fence across the water. Each one feeds live acoustic data back to the aircraft and the fleet. The net tightens. At 5:34, the contact accelerates. Cavitation rising. The submarine is trying to break away, but speed creates noise. Noise creates a signature, and a signature can be tracked. The destroyer alternates between passive listening and controlled active pulses, just enough to maintain contact without overwhelming the environment. Ping, return. The submarine turns again, angling east toward deeper water. Update, submarine bearing 085 from destroyer, range 9,000 yards. Inside the helicopter, the tactical coordinator adjusts instantly. Mark new datum, prepare torpedo solution. Below, the submarine dips slightly deeper, now around 180 feet. Another burst of battery power spikes its acoustic output. For a brief moment, it masks itself in its own turbulence. Then the signal reappears. Contact regained. The containment box is holding. This is no blind pursuit. Every move is measured, every position calculated. The formation begins shaping the space itself. On the carrier's bridge, no one speaks without purpose. The captain studies the live tactical overlay. Carrier at the center, escorts forming a wide arc. Helicopter above, and the submarine contained within intersecting acoustic lines. One instruction follows. Do not allow repositioning for a third shot, because a submarine does not fire twice unless it plans to keep going. At 5:37, the submarine slows, maybe conserving battery, maybe reassessing, maybe realizing the situation has changed. Above, the Seahawk moves ahead of the contact. Its forward camera catches a faint disturbance beneath the surface, barely visible, just a subtle distortion in the water. Inside the destroyer, weapons control locks in the final parameters. Range 7,000 yards within engagement envelope. The distance between hunter and target continues to shrink. Below, the submarine makes one last move, a sharp turn to port, followed by a rapid descent. But the water here is shallow. The continental shelf rises beneath it. There is nowhere to disappear. Target boxed, no clear egress. The helicopter confirms through overlapping buoy data. The submarine is trapped inside a tightening acoustic cage. By 5:39, the air on the bridge feels different. Not tension, resolution. The captain gives a single nod. Authorized prosecution. No emotion, just procedure. On the destroyer, torpedo tube doors open beneath the surface. Systems equalize, targeting locks in. Above, the Seahawk crew aligns their own backup solution. Redundancy is not optional. The submarine accelerates again, whether out of urgency or defiance, it no longer matters. For the first time since 5:17, control has fully shifted. At 5:40, the order comes. Fire. No countdown, no pause. Beneath the surface, a lightweight anti-submarine torpedo exits the tube cleanly. Seconds later, a second follows, offset for geometry and reliability. Two hunters enter the water. Their motors engage quietly. Guidance systems activate. Acoustic seekers begin listening. Above, the Seahawk holds position, dipping sonar still in the water. The crew tracks everything in real time. Weapon 1 running hot, Weapon 2 trailing, target bearing steady. The submarine reacts immediately. Contact increasing speed, hard turn starboard. It dives deeper, now pushing past 200 feet. Another burst of battery power spikes across the sonar display. Cavitation rises sharply, running makes noise. Noise feeds the seeker. The first torpedo adjusts course, shifting into its terminal approach, wide arc tightening into precision. The submarine tries one last sequence, diving, then pitching upward, attempting to break the acoustic lock within its own turbulence. But the depth is limited. There is no deeper escape. 3,000 yards, 2,500. Inside the Combat Information Center, every console glows. No one looks away. Weapon 1 active homing. The seeker has locked. There is no uncertainty now. The submarine attempts to slow, trying to reduce its acoustic footprint. Too late. 1,000 yards. The ocean absorbs the final seconds. Then a sharp underwater odor, stronger than anything before. The sea surface above the contact point lifts briefly, followed by a column of white turbulence. Not something you hear, something you feel. Shock energy moves faster through water than through air. It brushes the nearest destroyer like a passing wave. Primary detonation confirmed. For a fraction of a second, sonar screens wash out in white reverberation. Then the echoes return, fragmented, broken. Contact lost, debris field detected. The second torpedo continues its path for a moment, then receives updated data. Cancel second weapon. A coded signal redirects it into a safe termination pattern. It neutralizes itself before reaching the debris. Silence returns, layer by layer. The Seahawk lifts its sonar and circles the area. Through infrared, a faint disturbance becomes visible. A thin sheen begins spreading across the water. Small bubbles rise unevenly. Inside the CIC, target breaking up, multiple metallic fragments, no coherent propulsion signature. There is no celebration, just confirmation. By 5:44, the final report is clear. Submarine neutralized. The carrier never made any dramatic maneuver. Its course line remains steady, Flight operations are still paused, but deck crews are already getting back to their feet. The captain listens to the full assessment. 2 torpedoes launched, both intercepted. Launch platform identified. Launch platform destroyed. One final order follows. Maintain elevated ASW posture. Confirm no additional contacts. Because assumptions can be dangerous. Active sonar pulses once more. Ping. Return. Nothing beyond debris. The Seahawk completes one last orbit, recording everything. Every second of data is stored. Every waveform logged. Every bearing archived. Details matter. Procedure matters. By 5:48, the formation begins to widen again. Defensive posture transitions back toward a cruising screen. Above, a pair of FA-18 launch into patrol, not in reaction, but by doctrine. When movement happens below, the air answers above. The sea begins to settle. The thin surface sheen spreads, then fades into the currents. No signals, no periscope, no second contact, just open water. The entire engagement lasted 27 minutes. No damage to the carrier, no losses in the formation. One hostile submarine removed. On the carrier's bridge, the captain looks ahead. Resume operations. On deck, crews return to position. Steam builds again along the catapult. From a distance, everything appears unchanged. But beneath that calm surface, an attack was made, and answered immediately. By 5:52, the ocean is quiet again. No smoke, no alarms, no visible debris, only a faint trace drifting where the contact broke apart. Inside the Combat Information Center, the atmosphere has stabilized. Acoustic sweep complete. No additional contacts. Surface picture clear. Air picture clear. And just like that, the ocean returns to silence. The words sound routine. The meaning isn't. A torpedo was launched at a United States aircraft carrier. 2, in fact, both stopped. The source was identified. The source was eliminated. Total engagement time, 35 minutes. Throughout it all, the carrier never dropped below operational speed. The air wing never left its defensive posture. The strike group never broke formation. That's the difference between reaction and doctrine. On the flight deck, everything returns to motion. Yellow shirts step forward. Steam builds again along the catapult. An FA-18 rolls into position. From the outside, it looks like just another morning at sea. But below deck, the process has already shifted to analysis. Sonar logs are archived. Seeker waveforms stored. Launch bearings triangulated. Battery surge patterns cataloged. Every acoustic signature preserved. Because modern naval operations are not only about hardware, they're about information. The Seahawk touches down at 5:57. Rotor wash fades. The crew chief signals safe. Inside the aircraft, onboard systems hold high-resolution infrared imagery of the debris field and the submarine's final movements. Time-stamped, geo-referenced, verified. Nothing from this event will rely on memory. Everything will be measured. On the carrier's bridge, final confirmation arrives from the outer screen. Debris dispersing, no propulsion noise, no cavitation, no second platform detected. The captain gives a single nod. Stand down from condition 1. Maintain elevated ASW posture. Not a full return to normal. Not yet. Because submarines rarely operate alone by coincidence. And neither do strike groups. At 5:59, Combat Air Patrol establishes its orbit overhead. Destroyers widen back into a standard escort arc. The cruiser maintains radar coverage. Below, the ocean returns to its baseline hum. To anyone watching from far away, nothing would seem out of place. A carrier moving steadily through calm water, escorts holding formation, aircraft launching in a steady rhythm. No visible trace of what just happened beneath the surface. But within the formation, the message is clear. A torpedo is not a signal. It is intent, and intent carries consequences. There is no announcement, no visible escalation, no dramatic response. What happened wasn't theatrical. It was procedural. The interception systems worked as designed. The anti-submarine screen operated exactly as trained. The threat was handled within established parameters. No improvisation, just execution. At 6:07, the carrier increases speed slightly. Not to escape, not to pursue, but to stay on schedule. Because a carrier does not abandon its mission after contact. It absorbs the situation, adapts, and continues. Inside the Combat Information Center, one final entry is recorded. Hostile submarine engagement concluded. Strike group secure. That line will remain long after the surface clears, long after currents erase any trace, long after speculation fades. The captain steps toward the forward windows. The horizon is empty, the water undisturbed. A torpedo was launched at a U.S. aircraft carrier. There was no panic, no sudden maneuvering, no dramatic display. The response was immediate and controlled. Below the surface, force met force. Above the surface, discipline held. The ocean keeps its silence, but the message carries far beyond it. When a torpedo enters the water against a carrier strike group, the response is not debate. It is precision, and it arrives before the wake disappears.